Hi, listeners. I think we have a really fun show today. So, what we're going to be talking about are 10 red flags to look for when you are hiring a marketing strategist. So, if that's something you're thinking about right now, that you need someone to come in and help you with marketing strategy in order to get better results across the board, then do not miss this show. It's going to be packed full of information, and I'm excited to jump into it. Let's go.
Welcome to the Higher Purpose Marketing Strategy Podcast. If you're frustrated by marketing and want to stand out from your competition, this is the show for you. Every week, we're discussing how to build a plan that attracts your best customers and aligns with your values. I'm your host, Ashley Conway, follower of Jesus, CEO of Be Weird Marketing, marketing coach, and copywriter. I promise to defeat the ick, yuck, and struggle bus feelings you may have about marketing with a few good stories and proven advice. So let's have fun and get to work.
You all know, right? There is a high price of hiring the wrong person. Just when I think back over the years of all the hires or just, paying someone for services over the years that I got completely wrong, here's the list I came up with. A swim lesson instructor, a business coach, a lawn aeration company. They punctured our sprinkler lines. So that was a fun project for my husband to fix. A car mechanic, a personal trainer. And what these really all came down to, it wasn't that they were awful at what they did. It was just not the right fit for my family, for my kids, or for me, whatever it was. Because it wasn't the right fit, though, that meant that I lost time, that I could have been making progress with the right person. It cost me money, and even more than that, it cost me energy, because at the end, when you've had a bad experience, you're so frustrated and you still have the same problem to address. Oh, the worst feeling, right? So I don't want you all to make that mistake when you are hiring somebody to come in and support you with marketing strategy. So that's what this show is going to talk about today, the 10 red flags to look for when you are trying to hire the right person. But let's kind of cover the basics just to make sure we're on the same page. What is marketing strategy? I know I talk about it a lot, but I want to make sure we're operating from the same definition. So marketing strategy is your plan, your overarching plan for reaching the right people with the right message to achieve whatever your business goals are. So strategy is more than just a social media post or even a social media campaign or running ads or a launch that you're running. It's the intentional, big picture, overarching approach that it's going to guide what you say, who you say it to, where you're saying it, like where you're showing up, and why it matters to begin with. So that's marketing strategy in a pretty simplified definition. But now let's talk about who offers it. These are the people who may be coming to you offering to help you with your marketing strategy. Consultants, coaches, and fractional CMOs. So let's talk about these three people and how they do the job differently. Fractional CMO, that is like you're not ready to hire a full-time CMO to work in your business. A fractional CMO would come in part-time. They would still manage all of your marketing team, which would be if you have employees or if you have contractors, freelancers, they would manage all of those. It's having a part-time employee who is in the role of your CMO position. Then there are consultants. Consultants come in an advisory role. They come in and create a plan for you. They observe, they do some discovery and see what the situation is with your marketing, and they create a plan for you to execute. Then the difference with coaches is that coaches come in, they also help you create a plan, but it's more that they are educating you and empowering you along the way, so it is co-created. They are there as a guide to help you create a marketing plan that feels like yours, not one that somebody made for you. You're going to have a lot of ownership over it. It's going to feel like yours, but you're also, just like with the consultant, still responsible for the implementation. Now, these three, fractional CMOs, consultants, and coaches, are strategy experts. These are not to be confused with what I call a subject matter expert. So a subject matter expert is going to be most likely an agency or a freelancer. They're people who specialize in a particular piece of marketing. So this is where your web designers, your graphic designers, your copywriters come in, your agencies that help you with creative things or video. So those people are subject matter experts. They also help with strategy, but it's strategy around their particular piece. Social media agencies specialize in helping you grow your social media reach and hitting your social media goals, but they are not going to consult on your website. They have an expertise, but it's in a defined category. And it's also, don't confuse strategy with executors. So you should always have someone, whether it's an assistant, it's a marketing coordinator, someone on your team to be the one who is publishing the blog post, publishing podcast episodes, scheduling your social media post, all of that. Those are your get it done people, right? They are your executors. So your executors and your subject matter experts are vital to your business, but they are not there for overall marketing strategy. So now that we're kind of on the same page about what is strategy, this overarching big picture plan that guides the marketing for your business. So we're on the same page about the strategy and who offers it. Let's now talk about when you're interviewing these people, when you're doing discovery calls with consultants, coaches, or fractional CMOs, let's talk about what these red flags are that'll clue you in that it's not the right person for you. Number one, they promise quick results. So if you have someone coming in and they're making these bold claims like, I'll get you results in 30 days, or I'm going to 10x your ROI, that's a red flag. That will work for someone who comes in as a social media expert and they say, we will increase your DMs or your people coming to your lead magnet to sign up. We will increase that in 30 days. You'll see a difference. That's okay. But strategy takes more time to implement because you are trying things, you're testing them. You're testing a couple of different things, and then you're using that data to refine what you do from there on out. There's a lot of research that goes into it. Shoot, I'm not sure a strategist could get all of the research done, like first call with you, do all of their research, come back to you with that information. That's maybe a piece they could do in 30 days. So anyone that is telling you that is not the truth, that they are kind of skipping that reality that strategy takes time, they're probably interested more in selling than they are serving you. They're interested in selling and making more revenue for their business more than they are than selling and making more revenue for your business. So look out for that, number one. Number two, they use cookie cutter approaches. This is one that really fires me up. If their solutions sound one size fits all, or they can't explain how they're going to tailor their strategy to your business or your values or your goals, it's a sign that they're not being truly strategic, that they're not customizing, that it's not going to be personalized. You want a strategist that has a framework. They need to have some sort of process that they follow, and they know the right questions to ask you, but the solutions that they come up with need to be custom to be successful. Custom to, like I said, your business, your values, your goals, your audience, your mission. All of that makes the actual plan they create with you completely custom. There's no way you could take it and hand it to one of your competitors and it would work because it's so custom. It's really based on everything about your brand and your business. Let me give you an example with Jenna Kutcher, who is obviously very highly respected in this marketing industry. I noticed maybe it was a couple weeks ago on LinkedIn that she was putting out something about Pinterest being a wonderful marketing channel that everybody needs to be on, and here's some data behind it, and it was encouraging people use Pinterest for marketing, and it was a partnership that she had started with Pinterest. And I understand why she did that, because her audience is a lot of people who are trying to DIY their marketing. They are looking to her to teach them, how do I do this correctly? How do I get more email leads? How do I sell physical products? How do I, all of these things, they're looking to her. And she is an excellent teacher for those people. But when I read that, my audience, who are established business owners that are successful, and they're looking for a professional marketing strategy. They're not just starting in the marketing game. They want to up level because they're already having some success with what they're doing. They want to take it up so they'll be ready to grow and scale with something formal. So for my audience, they're not going to be on Pinterest searching, how do I create a marketing strategy? Not going to happen. And I made that argument on her post that I see why it works for her audience, but for a higher level client or customer, I'm not sure that they're spending time on Pinterest trying to DIY their marketing solutions. And that's the thing. For somebody like Jenna Kutcher or Amy Porterfield, these people are doing one teacher to many, many, many students in many industries, in many stages of business, products, services. It's all over the map. They have to try to come up with a cookie cutter solution that will fit all of these different people who are coming to them for help. But if you're listening to this podcast, you are not there. We are not looking for cookie cutter approaches. We're looking for custom approaches, right? We want it to be personalized. We don't want it to look exactly like another business's marketing looks. You don't want it to be the same where all you have to do is slap on your logo and colors and it's exactly the same as what a competitor has. No, that is what we're talking about. You want custom solutions. That's what really makes you stand out in the marketplace. So now let's do number 3. They don't ask about your mission or values. Marketing should align with who you are as a brand and what your business stands for. If a strategist never asks about your values, your audience, your company story, how you got started, why you got started, your marketing, just like I said a minute ago, is going to end up sounding like everyone else. It's going to sound robotic, really, like it's something AI could put together. If you went into ChatGPT and you said, create a marketing strategy for me, these are my goals, spit, it gives it to you, and it would do that for everyone else that is a competitor of yours. So sharing your mission and your values in your marketing, it doesn't have to be pushy, but just living out your mission and your values in a way that you let your audience see, it humanizes your brand. It takes you from a business that sounds robotic and sounds like everybody else to a business with a personality, because the personality is yours. The things you care about the most, if it's service, if it's environmental, if it's, it can be a ton of things. That is a human part of your company, your brand. And that's what we want to see in marketing. I mean, you think about companies like Tom's that they're giving away a free pair of shoes every time you buy one. You understand that part of their values is giving back, is outreach to people. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be preachy. You don't have to try to get people to share your values. You're just sharing who you are in your marketing. Okay, so number 4, they don't discuss long-term strategy. And this is something that's easy to do as a marketing strategist. You just address whatever the problem is now, and you expect that as time goes on, they will come back for more strategy from you. But that's not super cost effective for you as a business owner, right? So doing tactics, short-term tactics that don't have a long-term strategy behind them, driving them, is like throwing spaghetti at the wall. If it's not accomplishing a long-term goal and you're just out here thinking, let's test some user-generated content out on TikTok and just see how it does. I'm going to have a lot of strategy questions about that. Like, who is your audience? Do they like that type of content? Are they on TikTok? Everything should be backed up by this long-term strategy of where you're trying to get. Do you need more awareness? Do you need more people to know who you are? Then let's focus on that, knowing we're going to address these other pieces too of the customer journey. If you haven't heard episode 1, it's foundational. Go back and listen to it. We talk through the steps of the customer journey: awareness to consideration to purchasing to retention to loyalty. Everything needs to have that long-term strategy in mind, because you know what? That customer journey will go with you as long as you're in business. You're constantly taking people through those steps. You're making those experiences under each one of those categories better and better, and you're refining. But it's all a part of this thing that will grow with you. It's not a one and done thing that you pay for. You get a plan, and now after you execute the plan, what do? No. Someone who is really focused on serving is going to give you something that will grow with you, because you don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. God willing, your business will explode and you'll be like, great, now how do I adapt my marketing then? So if your strategist is only talking about what to do right now and not how it ties into a bigger goal and a purpose, you won't build anything lasting. You may build something. You may have short-term results, but not anything lasting. That was number 4. Let's hop to number 5. They avoid data or they don't discuss results. Everything you do should have a clear and measurable goal that moves a customer through your sales journey, funnel, that type of thing. And when I say the emphasis there is on, first, the clear goal and the right goal. I didn't put that in there, but this is the big piece of it. You want the right goal. So your social media, if you are measuring comments and likes, that is not really moving the needle for you. Your social media is for people to get to know you and move further along in your customer journey. So they're either getting to know you and moving, like maybe you want them to move to your lead magnet, your freebie. You want them to get that so that they deepen their relationship with you. Now you're in their inbox. Maybe you want them to buy your low ticket offer, so you're directing them to that. But it shouldn't just be generic, that's what we call a vanity metric. It's something that you're measuring, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't move your business forward in the long run. So let's make sure we have a clear goal, the right goal that really moves the needle for you, and it's measurable. So if you are measuring how many people from your social media channels are going to your lead magnet sign up page, that's very measurable. Everything you do, you get people to that page, measure how many people, once they visit the page, are actually getting your lead magnet. That's an easy way to measure how successful that sign-up page is. That's what you're looking for. So if a strategist comes in and they don't discuss tracking like that, measuring a clear, right purpose of what you're talking about, or they can't back up the things they recommend with a clear outcome. So I'm recommending you do this. This is the exact outcome we want. This is how we're going to measure it. These are red flags. You want somebody who does place an emphasis on data and results, and not just colloquially kind of like, we've had, our likes and engagement or whatever it is has gone up. Not just colloquially like, yeah, we're doing better. You want to show by piece that you do, by website, by sales page, by email. That all needs to be tracked to ensure that it's performing as it should. And if not, that you can go back and tweak and then measure again. That's all what testing is all about. You change one small thing, you measure again, you see how effective it is. So data should play a huge role in what they are suggesting in their process. Number 6, they ignore or try to change your brand voice or identity. So a good strategist should not come in and try to change your brand, change who you are as a company. That what they need to do is maybe refine what that your voice is. Maybe they want to bring clarity by, let's develop some key messages. That these are the 5 things that we say about our company, what we do. Like, let's really get clear on those so we're repeating the same messages over and over everywhere. So that's refining. And you want them to amplify your voice, just like if they had a megaphone, that they want to take those key messages, the things you are as a company, and they want to amplify that so more people will hear. More people will know who you are. What you don't want them doing is coming in and saying, I think you're going too hard on your values here. Or so if they're pushing you to sound like someone else, or they're suggesting marketing tactics that don't align with your brand, they aren't a good fit. If you're a brand who cares so much about the environment or about giving back, and they come in and suggest tactics that would be anti-environmental or anti-outreach, then you're going to know they're not syncing up. It's not going to be a good fit, and it's going to be a very frustrating process for you if you hire them. Number 7, they don't educate or empower you. Now, I know we talked about marketing consultants, and they are more of a come in and create the plan without your help. I think that is not the most ideal practice. I know you don't need to become a marketing expert. You're an expert in what you do, or you wouldn't be so successful. But you should understand what's happening and why. Because, if for nothing else, that you need to be able to explain it to your team. This is why we're making these changes. The data shows this. You need to have an ownership piece of it. And for the second purpose of when that strategist, that consultant, coach, whoever it is, when they leave, you are going to be the one, or someone on your team that you designate, you are going to be the ones that keep this train on the tracks, that keep things moving, that keep executing the plan. So you need to have ownership of it to be able to do that. Because if you are along in the process and you are being empowered and you feel like this plan is just as much yours or more than the person who helped you to create it, then you're going to be more passionate about it. You're going to be excited to, execute that, to see it to fruition, to see the changes that it's going to make in your business. I think there's just a huge thing of, no, you don't need to be a marketing expert, but you do need to feel ownership of the plan that you're creating for it to be successful. No matter how good your marketing expert is, they can't come in and make a plan successful without the buy-in of your team. That's something only you can do. So if a strategist avoids explaining things to you, they're talking over your head, or they're trying to take control, they're going over your head, and they're contacting people on your team, it's a bad sign. Unless you're giving them permission, you should be their point person. Number 8, they propose fear-based or manipulative tactics. And this is something we talked about in another episode on ethical marketing, but using scarcity, like we only have so many of something left. We only have so many spots. We only have so much time on the calendar. We only have so many products left. So you better buy now. If you use that falsely, if you really have plenty of open spots on the calendar, that's unethical. If you use guilt, or if they suggest using guilt or fear to pressure people into buying, I think about this always with the weight loss industry. It's like, you better make a change or you could die. Frankly, all of us could die at any time, so that's dumb. But, they use the fear of, you could have a heart attack. You could leave your loved ones alone. It's fear to try to pressure people into buying now. Those tactics may work in the short term, but it's not in line with with a faith-driven business. That's not aligned. We don't operate like that. And the right strategist for you is going to value honesty and integrity above all else, including results. Because those scarcity tactics and the fear tactics do work. That's why so many businesses use them. But that doesn't mean that it is the right thing to do. And the right person is going to put doing the right thing over everything else. All right, 2 more. Here we go. Number 9, they don't take time to understand your audience. This is huge. This is the first thing I do with all of my clients. If I'm coaching, if I'm copywriting, you start with understanding the audience. Because we, as a third party coming into your business, either as a coach or a copywriter, needs to be able to be objective and to put on our audience cap and to look at what you're doing with a target audience point of view. So if you want to have someone a strategist who comes to you and they want to jump straight into tactics, doing things without deep diving into your audience first, or here's the flip side, they readily accept that your audience is everyone. It's this huge group that's like, here's a huge group of age ranges and a huge group of income levels. It would be like having a lawn care business and you just say, anyone with grass. Unless they have turf, they're our audience. If a marketing strategist just says, okay, and they accept that, that's a major red flag. Because to me, that screams inexperience. Because all of us who have been in this business for very long know if you try to market, to create some kind of a campaign, and you're aiming it at everyone, then you're going to get no one, because no one out there in the market is going to feel like you're talking to them. They're going to know it's generic, and it will fail miserably. Effective strategy always starts with audience clarity. So don't be alarmed if you are considering hiring someone and they want to spend a decent amount of time on this, on the upfront discovery research process. Knowing your industry and your audience, that's just key. You can't create anything successful without it. Here's the last one, number 10. They don't share specific case studies or results. So I know we talked about earlier, one of the points was that they don't want to incorporate data into the plan. That's not the tracking and the measuring, the metrics is not a part of their process. This is a little bit different. If a strategist can't share specific examples of the work they've done in the past, who they've helped, or what kind of impact they created, hopefully they would have some kind of actual data-driven results. But even if they can't, if they can share examples of the work they've done, and they're just like, okay, we worked on SEO blog posts, and now our Google search results are this much better, and we're getting this many more calls, that type of thing. So if they can't share specific work they've done in the past, specific case studies, it's hard to trust that they're actually going to deliver. You don't have anything that you can put faith in. And that is something I would especially emphasize if you are interviewing someone who is young, which is not a bad thing. Also someone who is self-taught. These are things that I would be sure to hammer on when I was interviewing them, because it is very common in this marketing space now for people to have figured out the social media algorithms, and they know how to go viral, and they know how to be seen, and they know how to do whatever the latest dance is to get tons of views. And that's fine. But strategy is a very important high-level thing that drives your entire business's marketing for a long period of time. So you don't want somebody who's inexperienced or self-taught. Self-taught, perhaps with a lot of experience, that's a different thing, but the experience is the key. You want somebody who has worked with a lot of different clients, has been in a lot of different scenarios, and knows how to troubleshoot when things go wrong. Sometimes they do. Sometimes things fail, and then you have to go back and look at the data and use it to make a better decision and to tweak something and then to test it and try it again. You don't want somebody who has never been in that situation where something they did didn't work, because when inevitably it will, something will fail, they will freeze. So that is number 10. Let me do a quick review for you. Number 1, they promise quick results. Number 2, they use cookie cutter approaches. 3, they don't ask about your mission or values. 4, they don't discuss long-term strategy. 5, they avoid data or don't discuss results. 6, they ignore your brand voice or identity. 7, they don't educate or empower you. 8, they propose fear-based or manipulative tactics. 9, they don't take time to understand your audience. And 10, they don't share specific case studies or results. So that's great, right? Those are all the red flags. But here's the flip side that you're probably asking, then what do I look for in a marketing strategist? And this is just off the top of my head, the top 4 that I thought of. You want someone who listens more than they pitch. When you're on that discovery call, that intro call with them, you want someone who is asking you questions. They're trying to learn more about your business. So they should be listening and asking you things 80% of the time, and then telling you what they offer 20% of the call. Because this whole process is not about them and how great their business is. It's about you and what we can do to serve your business and support you as you grow and as you scale. Number 2, they prioritize your mission, values, and audience. That is what you want someone talking to you about, because you need someone who they don't have to agree with you, but you want them to at least understand its importance, the importance of your mission and your values and your audience. Number 3, they have a framework, they have a process that they use, because that equals experience, right? It's only somebody who's done it a lot that knows what process needs to happen and what questions to ask. So you want someone with a framework, but you want them to customize it 100% for your goals and your business. I know I've hammered on that, but I can't say it enough, especially in this world of AI when everything can be computer generated and it's the same nearly across the board. You're asking the same computer brain to create something for you. So everything is getting more and more robotic. That's why things that are personal, things that are customized for you are even better. The more you show up as actual people with personalities and humanity, in your emails, your site, your social, the better it is for you, because that is becoming more rare as AI does more. Number 4, they measure what matters. You remember we're looking for the right goal, the right thing to measure. They measure what matters and they teach you along the way. So those are the things to look for in a marketing strategist. And something great to get started with is just, if you're not sure, if you're interviewing a marketing strategist, and obviously because we're talking about strategy, these things have a higher price point. They're a higher ticket offer, especially if it's one-on-one. One person working with just your business. It's not a group coaching thing. That can be a big commitment and a high ticket. And if you are not certain that you want to go with somebody, then ask to do something smaller. Like let me get a taste of what you do before we talk about the big thing. For me, what I offer is power hour coaching sessions. So you bring a small, very defined problem. It could be, let's talk through my sales funnel. Let's look at my messaging on this sales page. Let's talk about my email welcome sequence and what I should have in it. Types of things like that. We can make significant progress in 1 hour. And I have 2 spots open in the next 2 weeks to do power hour coaching sessions. So if that's something you're interested in, you would like to see more about what we could do in that hour. The goal is a business breakthrough in 1 hour. So if you want to know more about that, or you're ready to schedule that, go to bit.ly/Power Hour Coaching. I trust this has been helpful to you, and please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or LinkedIn and let me know which red flag was most beneficial to you. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to today's show. For all things podcast, including transcripts, extra resources, and a place to submit questions for the show, visit higherpurposemarketingstrategy.com. I'd also love for you to do me 2 quick favors. 1, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and 2, share this episode with your colleagues. And that's a wrap. Meet you back here next week.